Hey guys, what's up? This is Mario here, bringing you guys another video, and today we're going to be going over all of the Prison of Elders information that was released on Wednesday, May 6th, so hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this, and so here we go. So just before I begin, I just want to give a disclaimer. My voice will sound a lot more different, and it will sound a bit more raspy, and that's because I've had a really bad cold over the past few days, and I really wanted to get this video out to you guys yesterday, but first of all, the live stream was longer than I had anticipated, and second of all, I've just been dead, basically, so my voice would not have sounded good. I am getting better, though, and I know I'm not going to sound very energetic, and I apologise for that, but let's get on with the video. So in case you missed the live stream, the Prison of Elders is a new 3-player co-op arena activity that will act as a new endgame PvE activity in the House of Wolves. There are 4 different versions of the Prison of Elders that you can play. There is a level 28 arena that is simply called the Prison of Elders that will have matchmaking, which is great for you guys that don't have a team to play with. But it probably won't reward you with level 34 gear, but apparently you can get rewards from it every time you play. So even if you've done it already in the week, you'll be able to get rewards. Even though the rewards won't be great, you might get stuff like engrams or coins, motes, I don't know. Upgrade materials is what I'm talking about. Then we have level 32 and 34 arenas. Now these have been talked about as challenge modes and will yield better rewards than the level 28 arena, but will be a lot more difficult. These will also rotate each week to other challenge modes, and so each week you're going to be up against different bosses in each playlist. And you can also, like I said, you can also get rewards only once a week. From both of these, of course. So you can play the level 32 and get rewards, and then the level 34 and get rewards. And then finally, we have a level 35 arena, which is, of course, above the level cap, which will act as the raid for the House of Wolves, and you will take down Skolus, who is a giant fallen boss. So let's get what into actually happens in the activity. So when you launch into the activity, you'll start out in a room with 4 doors. When you go through one of the doors, you'll be greeted by Varix, who is the House of Judgment vendor, but he will be presented in a ghost servitor, which is purple, and you've probably seen it in the background gameplay. Before you enter a room, a modifier will be applied to all of your fireteam members. This modifier can be the ones that we've already seen in the Nightfalls, but there's also 8 new modifiers that have been added. Here are all of the modifiers that can be added to you before you enter a room. Arc Burn, Solar Burn, and Void Burn, which increases the amount of damage from all sources for the specified archetype by 300%. We then have Angry, enemies will be more aggressive and won't stagger. Juggler, ammo won't drop for the weapon in your hand. Light Switch, enemies deal more melee damage. And that's all of the ones that we've seen so far. Now we have the new ones. So we have Small Arms, primary weapon damage is doubled. Exposure, Guardian shields are increased but do not replenish. Grounded, which we don't know, but I believe it means you cannot double jump. Brawler, which means that Guardian melee damage is increased by 300%. Catapult, grenade recharge speed is greatly increased. Trickle, abilities charge significantly slower. Specialist, which I believe means that special ammo damage is doubled, but we're not sure yet. And Airborne, which I believe means that you'll be able to double jump higher, but again, we're not sure about that one. Okay, so entering a room will set off a series of 3 waves of enemies that you will have to kill, and these will become more difficult as the rounds go on. When you enter a door, you start 1 round, and there's a total of 5 rounds in the actual activity. For round 1, the waves will be pretty straightforward. You'll just have to kill 3 waves of enemies, but the enemies will be pretty tricky to kill. The AI has been coded differently, so you won't just be able to camp behind a structure and kill them off. They will come behind your cover, so you'll have to keep running around. There will also be web mines that will be randomly scattered around the map. Shooting the web mines or standing on them will of course trigger them, and a giant web will just pop out of them, a giant white bubble shaped thing. And essentially, if you stand in these, you'll get a slowness debuff that will slow down your movement speed. So round 1 sounds pretty simple, right? Well, after you've killed the 3 waves of enemies, you'll be asked to return to Airlock, which is the room that you start out in order to begin round 2. Now, once you go into round 2, things will be a little bit different. You'll still need to fight off 3 waves of enemies, but there will be certain extra mechanics and elements that will be added. One of the extra elements is the feature that is critical objectives. Now, these are objectives that will randomly appear out of nowhere, and you'll have to complete the objectives or else your fire team will be wiped. Now, so far we've seen 2 objectives that Bungie has shown on the streams, but there could be more. The 2 that were shown where you have to shoot or stand near a splinter mine in order to disarm them. And then you also have to kill a VIP enemy that will be 1 more level above what you're playing currently. So for example, if you're in the level 32 arena, the VIP enemy will be level 33. Another feature that can be sometimes added is an item called the Scorch Cannon, which essentially acts as the relic for this activity. So previously we've had the shield, we've had the sword, and now we have a Scorch Cannon. And when you pick this thing up, only 1 player can pick it up, and the actual Scorch Cannon itself has 10 rounds in it before it will disappear. Just tapping the right trigger will cause the cannon to act like a rocket launcher. You'll just shoot an explosive shell at the area you're aiming, and it will explode and do damage. However, holding down the right trigger will allow you to charge up the Scorch Cannon and to launch more devastating attacks. I actually can't remember what the attacks were. I believe that you can actually sticky your enemies to turn them into a bomb, but I'm not too sure. I didn't get too much information on that. Another thing that can happen is ammo drops, essentially. So this will happen similar to how it does in Crucible. So out of nowhere, it'll say Varix gives you a present or a gift or something like that. And ammo will just spawn. I believe it can be special or heavy, but so far I've only seen it be heavy. And when this spawns in, it will basically bring up a special or heavy weapon ammo crate, just like it does in PvP. And it will be there for 1 minute. I don't know how often you can spam it. I don't think you'll just be able to spam it, and then you have a bunch of heavy and special. I think it will have a bit of a cooldown, but it will be there for around 1 minute, I believe. And of course, you're just going to want to use this to your advantage in order to kill off a bunch of enemies. So this is all of the features that will be added in round 2. And once you've completed round 2, you're asked to return to airlock to begin round 3. Now, round 3 will be very similar to round 2, but will likely be made a little bit harder by increasing the amount of critical objectives and things that spawn in. It'll likely basically just become a more hard version of round 2. And just like before, once you complete round 3, which will, as I've said, be harder, you'll be asked to return to airlock and begin round 4. So this far, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, this is going to be easy. I can already see myself doing it. This is going to be a breeze. I don't even need to worry about it. Well, round 4 is where things change up a little bit. Now, this round 4 will be a mini-boss round, essentially. Now, this isn't the final boss. There are 5 rounds in the arena, and round 5 will act as the boss battle, but round 4 will act as a mini-boss. And generally, the mini-boss that spawns on round 4 won't have many mechanics. It'll be more of a bullet sponge boss, where you're just going to have to shoot, but you'll still have to deal with enemies spawning. You won't have to deal with the exactly 3 waves, but they'll just infinitely spawn until you kill the boss, essentially. That's how it works in round 4. And I don't know if critical objectives and all that will spawn in round 4. I don't think they do, but I'm not sure, of course. But once you've killed the boss, which will be more difficult, I just want to point that out, this does get more difficult as it goes along. The boss is going to be not as easy as round 1, 2, and 3. Just in case you was thinking that, because I was thinking now, and round 3 does sound a bit easier than round 4, but I can probably guarantee you that it isn't. But once you've completed round 4, you go to airlock again, and you get ready for the final round. So even now, some of you will be thinking, yes, this is too easy. Please, what was even the point in creating this activity? It's so bad. Well, round 5 will be the final boss round, and the final bosses will have custom mechanics that makes each boss more special and more specific, and you're going to have to remember which boss is which, so that you know what kind of things you're going to have coming. Now, so far, we've seen 2 bosses in action, and this is Valus Traug, which is a Cabal boss, and Urok's Flame Prince, who is a Hive boss. There isn't 3 waves of enemies in round 5, as well as the only objective is to kill the boss. You won't need to deal with 3 waves of enemies. However, the round 5 bosses, as I mentioned, will have one mechanic that makes the boss special and more difficult to beat. Now, let's begin with Valus Traug. Now, Valus Traug's ability is a chromatic shield. Now, if you don't know what this means, once you take down the shield, you'll have 15 seconds to deal damage to him before the shield will regenerate. No matter how much damage you deal to him, his shield will regenerate after 15 seconds. However, in these 15 seconds, after the 15 seconds, his shield will regenerate with a different type of damage. So say you shot down an arc shield, and then you deal the damage for the 15 seconds, then it could regenerate as a void shield. So it will constantly be changing. You're going to need to get each person on a different weapon type in order to deal as much damage as possible. Now, Urok's ability is a little bit different to that, and is essentially a ground slam that will give all players a debuff for 10 seconds, which is called Searing Flames. Now, when the debuff is active, anybody who stands or touches the ground will get a heavy amount of damage dealt to them. So essentially, you're going to need to stay in midair whilst this is happening. You're not going to instantly die if you touch the floor, but I don't recommend standing on it for too long, or else you'll die pretty quickly. Now, once the final boss is beaten, players will have to players will receive a treasure key first of all, and then they will need to return to Airlock for a final time, and this time the floor in the room will actually open up, but currently we don't know what's down there, we don't know what's underneath Airlock. However, the room has been described by Gathalion. He described it on one of his streams, just after the stream ended actually. And essentially, he said that the room is basically filled with gold and glimmer, and it's just all beautiful and pretty with loads of stuff. And there is a few chests just scattered around the room somewhere. And players can just grab the chests, and that's how you'll receive loot. You have to complete the activity to gain the loot. You will not earn it after each round. You have to complete it, otherwise you will get no rewards. So now we move into some more just miscellaneous bits of information that I may have missed previously. So first of all, there are no checkpoints in the Prison of Elders. So let's say that you go into a play session and you get to round 3. If you leave or go to orbit and then come back again, you'll have to start from round 1. This stops people from just saving the checkpoint and being like, oh, I'm on round 5, join me, and we'll just get the loot, because that kind of gets old and boring, because then you just skip to round 5, you get your rewards. You have to do the full thing in order to receive the rewards. No loot has actually been shown to us yet. We haven't seen the rewards room. The only loot that we've confirmed and seen that is actually in the Prison of Elders is the Wolf Slayer's Claw auto rifle and the gauntlets in the Reef Reveal stream. We know that there are items that exist called weapon cores and armor cores, and you'll most likely use these weapon and armor cores to purchase Prison of Elders rewards from Varix, the House of Judgment vendor in the Reef. Just to reinstate, there will be matchmaking for the Prison of Elders, but only for the level 28 activity. None of the challenge mode arenas will have the matchmaking ability. So what I mean by that is the level 28 one will, but the level 32, 34, and 35 you won't be able to matchmake. You're going to have to find a team of 3 players. We also know of a boss who is called Scoreless. Now, Scoreless is essentially the main boss of the DLC, kind of like Crota in the Dark Below and Atheon in the Vault of Glass. And this is going to be the guy that you're going to be aiming to take down the entire time. Only one image has been shown of him. I'll put that up on screen right now. And apart from that, we know nothing about how we'll take Scoreless down. We don't even know what room he's going to be in, etc., etc. Now, also, there are different arena level designs for each enemy. So, in case you missed the point that I was trying to make, there are multiple different enemy types in the arena. So, there is a Cabal arena, a Fallen arena, a Hive arena, and a Vex arena. Now, Vex hasn't actually been shown, but they are confirmed to be in it. So, don't you worry about that, guys. There is a Vex arena. Now, the final thing that I wanted to know, and you guys have probably been raging through the video to, why haven't you mentioned it yet? An additional note that I wanted to make was that there is a new weapon type being added in the House of Wolves, which is called the Sidearm. And this is a secondary weapon, which is a pistol, and it's a semi-auto pistol from what we've seen so far, which means that as fast as you can fire the trigger is as fast as the gun will fire. And currently the only sidearm pistol that we've seen is the Vestian Dynasty, which is a legendary sidearm and will be obtained either through the story mode of the House of Wolves or from the Prison of Elders. Now we're going to get into my opinion. So in my opinion, the Prison of Elders looks really, really fun. And I actually can't wait to play it on May 19th. I'm going to be playing it on day 1. Whether I have to do it match made or with friends, I don't really mind. I am going to be playing it on day 1. If you guys want, let me know in the comments. But I will upload gameplay, live gameplay if you want, with me commentating over it. Of my first playthrough in the Prison of Elders. I would not mind that too much. I haven't done live gameplay in a while. But yeah, that's my opinions. I think this looks really cool, really replayable, requires a high level of skill. I have heard from streamers, especially Professor Broman, who got so much hate after the live stream, unfortunately. And basically, I have heard from him that it is way more difficult than it looks. I promise you guys, it is going to, especially the challenge mode, it's going to be a lot more challenging than you think it is. But anyways, guys, I want to thank you for watching this video. I apologise once again for my voice. I am still recovering from a horrible illness and sickness. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it anyways. If you did, remember to smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for daily gaming content. Remember to follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Twitch. Links in the description below. And I'll see you guys in another video. So until then, ciao.